All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a story that is, honestly, just mind-blowing. We're diving into a narrative where hardcore astrophysics collides head-on with Islamic theology. It's this incredible tale that takes incredibly dense, abstract scientific data and frames it through a really profound, ancient lens. Let's just jump right into it.
Okay, so we have to start with the central premise because it is an absolute hook. We've all been taught, right, that the universe began with a massive explosion, this huge, chaotic burst of energy. But this story poses a really eerie, captivating question. What if the cosmic microwave background, the absolute oldest light in the universe, is actually a 13.8 billion-year-old audio recording? What if it wasn't a bang at all, but a command? To explore this, the story sets us up with two totally opposing characters working down at the Alma Observatory in the harsh Atacama Desert of Chile. First, we have Dr. Nadia Al-Kiyed. She's the lead cosmologist, super open-minded, and deeply invested in the mysteries of the universe's first light. And then there's her colleague, Dr. Marcus Roth. Marcus is your classic strict materialist. To him, the universe is just cold, hard math, and the cosmic background? It's nothing more than frozen quantum fluctuations. No meaning, no hidden voice, just data.
So the whole thing kicks off with something called B-mode polarization. Think of this as the deepest, oldest visual signature we possess. It's literally the fingerprints of the first light that was released 380,000 years after the universe began. Well, while crunching data from their massive 40-meter antenna, Nadia notices something that should be impossible. At a very specific angular scale, the temperature variations of this background radiation are 0.002% more orderly than theoretical models predict. It isn't random. It's acting almost like a guided wave shaping the early universe.
To figure out what's going on, Nadia uses this beautifully grounded sci-fi methodology. She takes this mysterious temperature map and runs it through a Fourier transform. Basically, she's converting space and time into frequency. Then she applies an audio sonification algorithm. She's literally translating the raw energy and frequency of the early universe into actual audible sound.
So she hits play on the speakers, and what emerges is just chilling. It isn't a hiss. Actually, scratch that. It's not static at all. It's this ultra-low, deep vocal resonance. It sounds exactly like a human voice that's been stretched out and slowed down by a factor of 1 trillion over 13.8 billion years. And the speakers start humming with this distinct phonetic rhythm, Ratkan, Fafatak Nahuma.
Nadia's hands are literally shaking as she realizes what she's listening to, because these aren't random syllables. She opens the Quran to Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30. That specific verse describes the heavens and the earth originally being joined together, Ratka, before being separated or ripped apart, Fatik. The exact phonetic vibrations of those specific Arabic words are physically carved into the polarization patterns of the early universe.
Now, of course, the scientific method kicks into high gear here. Marcus, the staunch materialist, totally laughs this off. He accuses Nadia of just twisting the data to find what she secretly wants to hear. So, to prove her wrong, he takes words for explosion or Big Bang from 10 different languages and runs them through the exact same algorithm. He tries English, Dutch, Italian, none of them match the cosmic data. 0. The only one that yields a 100% perfect resonance is the Arabic word falk.
So how does Nadia counter Marcus's skepticism? She introduces a whole new framework that she calls phonetic cosmology. It's this wild theoretical intersection where the literal physical mechanics of human vocalization map perfectly onto the acoustic waves of the cosmos. She's basically arguing that the physical act of speaking these specific ancient words perfectly mirrors the structural physics of the universe's birth.
Let's break down how this actually works anatomically. Nadia looks at the physical mechanics of Arabic pronunciation. When a person pronounces the letter kaf, the vocal folds vibrate between 120 and 150 hertz, and when pronouncing the letter ta, it creates a very specific turbulent noise, like a plosive friction right at the tip of the tongue.
And the correlation here is absolutely staggering. That 120 to 150 hertz vibration of kaf, it perfectly matches the half wavelength of the cosmic microwave background's sound horizon. And that turbulent noise of ta we just talked about, it perfectly matches a highly specific dip in the CMB's Doppler peak. The literal physical mechanics of a human throat pronouncing these letters perfectly overlays the radiation map of the early universe. It's like a giant cosmic puzzle fitting perfectly together.
Marcus is reeling, so he takes this straight to his supercomputer.
He tests 100,000 random sound combinations, trying desperately to replicate this Fourier phase and prove it's a fluke. He fails, every single time. The math shows that the odds of this being a mere coincidence are 1 in 10 to the power of 180. To put that into perspective, that number is vastly greater than the total number of atoms in the entire observable universe. There is just no way it's a coincidence.
With this data, Nadia proposes a massive shift in perspective. What Marcus has spent his entire career writing off as a random quantum fluctuation, she calls the acoustic tensor of the universe. It's essentially the underlying sound structure of reality itself. She suggests that when the universe was joined together, it received a single spoken command to exist, kun, meaning be. The acoustic wave of that command expanded 10 to the power of 60 times during cosmic inflation, and it just left its polarized memory stamped in the cosmic background forever.
Which brings us to a literal 3 a.m. breakthrough. Picture Nadia, late at night, totally alone in the server room. She starts accessing older, broader maps from the Planck satellite, looking at the macro scale of things. She takes the map's hotspots and cold spots and converts them into a simple binary dot matrix. She's hunting for a structural, repeating visual pattern across the entire cosmic map. She crunches that binary data into a decoding sequence, and the output, man, it is the absolute climax of her investigation. The hot and cold regions of the universe's background radiation literally spell out the Morse code equivalent of the exact same verb, fatanakahuma, meaning we separated them. The word isn't just hiding in the audio frequencies, it's visually printed right across the heat map of the cosmos.
She sends us over to Marcus, and he is just stunned. He immediately scrabbles to check data from the Russian Relict Observatory, basically praying that Alma's equipment is just malfunctioning. But no, the pattern is there too. This is not some localized equipment error. Within the reality of the story, this is no longer just a neat theory. It has become a universal, undeniable physical truth.
And this brings us to the real emotional turning point of the narrative. The staunch materialist completely yields to the impossible data sitting right in front of him. Marcus admits, "I thought the cosmic background was random noise, but there is a sentence written on the canvas of the universe." The data literally forced him to see deep meaning where he once only saw cold math.
But now, they face an impossible academic dilemma. Marcus looks at Nadia and asks how on earth they can possibly publish this in a peer-reviewed physics journal. I mean, how do you present an explicit theological input as a scientific output? How do you write a serious paper claiming the Big Bang wasn't an explosion but a spoken Arabic verb?
Nadia's response to him is incredibly profound. She just tells him, if you publish it as physics, there's no explanation. If you publish it as a sign, there's no question. For Nadia, this cosmic data isn't some weird coincidence or a glitch that needs solving. It's the universe's very first act of prostration. A physical, literal record of creation obeying a command.
Fast forward to the present day in the story, back at the Alma Observatory. Now, right at the entrance, there's a projector screen. Visitors who make the trek out to the Atacama Desert listen to a continuous 30-second loop of Nadia's Fourier to audio conversion. Every single guest gets to hear the voice of the first light, a 13.8 billion-year-old command that stretched across time but never completely faded away.
What makes this story so uniquely brilliant is this science fiction synthesis. It takes incredibly dense, abstract concepts, things like tensor to scalar ratios and cosmic inflation, and turns them into vessels for linguistic memory. It completely reframes the afterglow of the Big Bang. It's not just leftover heat anymore, it's the enduring echo of an ordered command. The words Ratka and Fatka become actual physical models encoding the universe's expansion.
This all leads to a complete evolution for Marcus's character. Now, he stands out on the roof of the observatory every single evening just looking up at the stars. He tells Nadia that for 30 years he thought he was measuring the distance between celestial bodies, but this discovery taught him he wasn't measuring a distance at all, he was measuring a call.
And he finally realizes the nature of the entity that could project such a call, a voice that can travel across 13.8 billion years without ever losing its structural integrity. Marcus recognizes this entity as Al-Awwal, the first, and El-Akhir, the last, the originator whose spoken word literally outlasts time itself.
Which leaves us with one final, awe-inspiring thought to take away from this explainer today. It's a question that totally bridges the gap between the hardest data of astrophysics and the deepest questions of philosophy. If a call was made 13.8 billion years ago, and our satellites and computers can still hear it echoing today, who is the caller?
Definitely something to think about the next time you look up at the night sky.